is our new Carfection long-termer, the Kia Sportage GT line, and we put a question out on Instagram where you can also follow us at Carfection Films to see what you wanted to know about Carfection's new long-termer, and you duly obliged. So here are our answers. Why a Kia Sportage? I understand why you're asking that. Usually on Carfection we've got the more exotic cars, the more exciting cars, but frankly, personally, for once, I wanted to drive something for a while that I could afford, something that is far more likely to be on one of your driveways. And the Kia Sportage seemed like an excellent opportunity to do that. At slightly cheaper than the Civic Type R, but getting much more car for your money, it seemed like a good way of finding a lot of space for the crew in something that was relatively comfortable, but something that at the end of the day, if I wanted to, I could actually go out and afford. So for now, we're going to go with a long-termer Kia Sportage for those reasons. What is the drivability like around town and on the motorway? Well, I've now clocked in around 60 hours of driving this since we got it in from Kia, and so far it's been brilliantly comfortable. We drive a lot of very fast cars. Not all of them are particularly comfortable for the long drives. Yes, when you get to that great bit of road, they are exciting and thrilling and an absolute pleasure to be driving, but this car is just nice all the time. It's been absolutely comfortable companion on some pretty long road trips already, be it motorway or urban driving, of which I've done a chunk of both, and it suited me absolutely fine. The throttle response is probably the only downside to all of that, which is on the slack side, even in the sport mode. That doesn't contribute to exciting driving, but it does help it maintain a very comfortable drive. So comfortable, ease of use has been the kind of watchwords in this car. What's the interior like? Is it spacious? In a word, yes. It's a family-sized SUV. It is built to have space. But I've ferried, myself and my family around with luggage in this car, and it has been perfectly spacious for all of us and all our gear, and at no point have we ever struggled. Driving around in your own, you still get to enjoy a relatively airy cabin. The trim we've got on the interior is quite dark, but because of this big roof window up here, it still feels light and airy. It's not cramped in any shape or form. It is perfectly spacious. The interior trim is what you would expect of a car of its price, but certainly competes very well within that. Everything that you can touch feels relatively well put together. These soft touch plastics feel quite nice with the kind of fake leather grain on it. It makes everything feel that just slightly premium level that even within this very affordable car makes it feel quite nice. There's quite a lot of switches for the infotainment system and the HVAC systems, but that's still kind of fine. We lament a lot of cars for switching to all digital screens, so when we get a car that still has them as physical buttons, we can't really complain. It makes everything very quick to get to, so I never feel like I've been searching too far to find the controls that I need, because they're clearly labeled with individual buttons. It does make life a little bit easier. Slightly untidy, maybe, but I like having those buttons for everything. So everything you touch and feels pretty good. The infotainment system has been really robust as well. It was easy to get used to, easy to find the features that I needed very, very quickly, and the sound quality's been pretty decent. So on long journeys, that has been a great companion. Are the exhausts fake? Yeah, they kind of are. What is the overall build quality like? Well, the fact that Kia will give you a 7-year warranty on this car speaks volumes to the fact that they think the build quality is very, very good. And certainly with the time that I've had with it, everything feels solid. Nothing feels like it's going to snap off. Nothing feels like it's fragile. It is definitely on par with brands like Skoda or Toyota. Not necessarily above it, but you are in the same ballpark. And so far, while I've had it, it seemed pretty rock solid. Is it petrol or diesel? We have a diesel, I know, but it's a mild hybrid diesel, and although it doesn't sound massively pleasant on the exhaust side, it does do the job. Personally, I would still prefer the petrol. What is the MPG? Well, Kia quote a combined figure of around 48.8 miles to the gallon. We're not getting that. At the moment, I'm getting 41.2. That is on the lower side of what Kia would expect to get from this car, but considering how I and the rest of the Carfection team drive, not wholly unexpected. You can hypermile this thing and get very, very decent mileage, but it is a big car. You're going to use up fuel using it, and that mild hybrid system, although it will save you a bit, is not going to save you a tremendous amount. The fuel consumption is decent within its sector, and you can push it to its max. We just haven't done it yet. What's the 0 to 60 time? It's 11.4 seconds, which might be a new record for a new car that we've had on Carfection. 11.4 seconds is not massively quick. The throttle response isn't super sharp. It's not a sports car in that respect. But although some of the team have expressed slight displeasure with its throttle responsiveness, I have found it to be perfectly comfortable, and for the kind of driving that we want to do between shoots in very fast cars, it's worked out just fine for me. So 11.4 seconds hasn't really affected me on the day-to-day. This is a practical car, and we're looking at it from practical levels. How many cup holders does it have? This was a long discussion that we had amongst the team as to what counts as a cup holder, because there is a beverage holder in the door, but specifically with a sign on it with a cup and a line through it, so we can't count that as a cup holder. There are, however, 2 cup holders up here in the front and 2 in the back, so we're saying 4. If I could take one feature from the Kia Sportage and put it in a Ferrari 488 Pista, what would it be? Now, Charlie, who's sitting next to me now, said the radio, because the Pista didn't have a radio, and I guess at some point on a long drive with someone who you'd rather not talk to for a long time, a radio would be a very welcome addition. I gracefully disagree though. For me, it's reliability. Now, Ferraris have lots of things going for them. Reliability on the scale that a car like this can deliver is not one of them. The only time I've ever had a car break down, a new car break down, while filming it for a Carfection film, it was a Ferrari. And even when the guys were out filming the Pista, they had an engine warning light because the battery was depleting because they weren't driving it fast enough between takes. If you drive it at less than 1500, 2000 RPM, the battery in that car will actually deplete because it's not meant for normal driving, whereas this is. This can handle the wide variety from crawling through traffic at next to no speed at all to motorway driving just fine, because this is an everyday reliable car. So for me, the one feature that I would like to see from this copied over onto a Ferrari would be reliability. So there you have it, a quick run through of some of the answers of our favourite questions that you asked about this, the Kia Sportage GT line Carfection long-termer. If you have any other questions, drop them down in the comments below and we'll try to get them answered as well. We'll have this car for quite a few months, so we'll get to experience it for, like proper owners over quite a long time. And we'll be able to keep you updated on how we're getting on with it and all the adventures that we get to take this car on. But for now, from the Kia Sportage, it's goodbye.